seemingly wants to get a piece of the pie in the fashion industry. And it's no wonder, because the fashion industry can be really lucrative. Having a fashion business can be really lucrative if you know what you're doing. So if you're looking to start your fashion business and you're wondering how you can start or what are the things that you need to bear in mind if you're starting in 2024, then you've come to the right video. I'm Bibi, and I'm a two-time fashion founder. My very first fashion brand I started over 10 years ago, award-winning brand, and it's doing pretty well. It's a top fashion brand in Lagos, Nigeria. And my second brand I relaunched last year, and it's doing pretty well as well. In this video, I'm going to be sharing 5 key things that you need to consider if you're starting a fashion brand in 2024. So the very first thing that I will do if I'm starting a fashion brand in 2024 is think international. I like to say think international or make it simple. So a lot of people have reached out to me to ask about opening a business in the US. What are the processes? How do I register my business? All of that. While that is great, if you're just starting out, I don't think that should be a priority. Right now is the time to start locally but build with an international mindset. What do I mean by that? You need to start thinking like an international brand, and this is going to inform every single thing you do in your business. It's going to inform your business processes, it's going to inform on your marketing, it's going to inform on the key decisions you make about your business. First thing I want to think about is, how do I give my business and international appeal? So the very first thing you want to do is finding other businesses that you want to model your business by. So find businesses that already cater or serve the international audience. I'll give examples. There's so many Australian brands that are really like killing it now. We have brands like Dish, off my head, I don't know, there's so many of them. Pause, Comments. So there's so many Australian brands that are killing it now, and they have a widely large US audience. So even though they're building from Australia, even though they're manufacturing and probably shipping from Australia, they've been able to build an audience in the UK, in the US, and other major cities of the world. So this is how you need to be thinking. First of all, visually, how do I ensure that my products appeal to an international audience? You have to be thinking about the quality of your products, from the fabrics to the tailoring to the finishing, making sure that you have quality products that can actually compare and compete with other international brands. And this is something you can start doing from now. You don't have to wait till you're big to have the quality control checks and processes in place. Second of all, you have to start thinking about, how do I get my products across to this international audience? What is the return and exchange policy going to look like? So you're in the building stage now. This is when you start putting pen to paper, or you start typing down what that process is going to look like. And the beauty of doing this is that you can just have a structure, a simple template. It doesn't have to be complicated. And the more that you run the operations of your business, you will start to see what actually works or what doesn't work. So this process or this document that you're building for your policies and whether it's your return, delivery, exchange, whatever, it doesn't have to be fixed. It's just a starting point. The most important thing is for you to have that foundation already, so that you can just update it as you grow in your business. You also have to think of how people are going to pay for the product. There's different ways that people can make payment these days. There's apps and there's all these things. Like in Canada, there's Lemonade that people can send. There's World Remit. There's all these platforms. So what you want to do is find those platforms, find out how they work, find people that are using it and ask them questions. So you don't want to wait till you get your first order to start figuring out how people can pay dollars to you. No. You don't wait for that. You have to start figuring it now. So when you're thinking internationally, you're just basically working out all the kinks and everything that will prevent someone from shopping your brand from abroad. You also have to think about your customer service. So this is where like having a website is key. It's 2024, guys. Why don't you have your website? Like every time I see brands that don't have a website, I'm just like, what the heck? Like having a website is no longer a luxury. Like it's not something that you can brag about. It's the bare minimum. You're leaving money on the table when you don't have a website. And I'll give an example. So I mentioned that I relaunched my second brand, Muse Africa, last year, and I had some supply chain issues. And in the period that I just in the period that I had the supply chain issues, I was just sort of thinking of pausing the brand. So we did a clearance sale, and we sold some things offline. Like we went for exhibitions and stuff, and we had a change of staff. So before we got the new staff, the stuff online was still there. So basically, we had products online that we did not have in stock, and those products online were not even on sale; they were full priced. What I found is that we're still getting sales even during the holidays. Like we're still getting sales, and that was actually what made me like sit up with that brand and say, okay, you know what, we have to figure out the supply chain issues with Muse Africa because we're getting sales. But if I did not have the website, if I was heavily reliant on just my Instagram page, then I would have lost, like, that's money that you're leaving on the table, because guess what, not everyone is going to DM you. I know that shopping by DM is very common in Nigeria, and this is why I say have an international mindset. Because think about it, if someone is shopping from the US, because of the time difference, they're probably most likely messaging you after close of business. So you're going to be missing out on potential sales. Have your website, have your policies, have your payment options, have your delivery options. Make sure all of this is done. Think about the visuals, how you're going to be presenting yourself as a brand. The second thing I would be doing if I was launching a brand in 2024 is focus but stand out. When you think about the brands that are doing really well in Nigeria, I know some fashion brands are popping in your head already. Just let's take a moment and think about those fashion brands. You know them for a specific thing. And this is how you want to be thinking. You don't want to be an everything brand to everyone. I see people starting, you're doing ashwabi, you're doing occasion wear, you're doing work wear, you're doing adire, you're doing every single thing. How do you stand out? You can't like start out being everything to everyone, because you end up being nothing to anybody. Do you understand? Like you need to focus on something, because that's the way that you can be top of mind. Remember that we said that this market is somewhat oversaturated. When you go on Instagram, there's a new fashion brand every single day. But guess what? Even if 10 brands are starting, even if 50 brands are starting, maybe one in the 50 brands will still do well. So there's still an opportunity here. Even regardless of how many brands are launching every day, there's still brands that are making it. So you want to give yourself your best chance for success by owning something. Let me give an example. Like if I were starting a fashion brand in 2024, I would just focus on one thing. Like I was thinking about it, like a maxi dress brand. This is an idea, like, and if you want to run with this idea, go ahead and let me know in the comment section like how it goes. But maybe a shirt brand, like something. Don't just start a brand out of what you feel like, something that people actually need. Like I would focus on that one thing and be like the best, like be the best at making maxi dresses. So now you're thinking, oh, I'm making for petite, I'm making for average height, I'm making for tall girls. Or maybe you're making a tall girl brand. There's this brand that I like, it's called Shop Busty, Bawsty. I actually saw the brand on Instagram and I really liked that their niche was busty girls. Because guess what? I've seen so many tweets about girls complaining that the fashion brands don't cater to girls that are fuller chested. That is a niche. Tall girls complain about, like for instance with Lady Bieber, and I feel like we don't even market this enough with Lady Bieber. We are very tall girl friendly, and maybe it's because I'm 5'8" and I struggle to find pants, especially pants, tailored pants that are long enough for me. Like they end up being one awkward length, or I end up wearing it as a cropped, like jeans. Like that's my present struggle with jeans. Finding jeans that are actually flattering, that hit the floor. Like if I had the means to, I would create like jeans for like curvy, tall and curvy women. So when you start out with something and people know you for it, you can actually branch out and do other things later. But the most important thing is for people to be able to say, oh, I need a maxi dress. I need tall girl pants. I know this brand. Staying top of mind is how you're able to stand out yet be focused on whatever you're doing. So, quick one. I'm relaunching my newsletter, and my newsletter really is just going to be a resource for fashion entrepreneurs or even entrepreneurs in general. So, if you want like additional resources where you can read, or just general tips and guides for running your business, make sure that you subscribe to my newsletter. The link is going to be down below. The next thing I would be doing if I was starting a fashion brand in 2024 is playing to my comparative advantages. So basically it's like you have greater strengths in a particular area than another person in another area, and your comparative advantage can really be in anything. It could be maybe you have a finance background, it could be that you are coming from marketing, it could be that you have experience in project management, whatever it is. It could even be from your network, it could be from your resources, it could be that you have influencer friends, it could be that you have photographer friends or whatever. Like whatever your comparative advantage is, whatever resources that you have that can give you an edge in launching your brand, please take advantage of it. No, none of that for humility, none of that. I don't know what they will say, I don't know how to ask. I used to be that person, and it doesn't. Please, it does. Use every resource that you have to make sure you give your business a chance to succeed. Like, don't be that person. Don't be that person that is shy. The worst that anybody will say is no. And when someone says no, you keep it moving. Like, this is not the time to start like saying, oh, I shouldn't have. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, any resource, please, I'm begging you, because at the end of the day, when you see people that are succeeding, they are heavily relying on whatever, whether it's a financier in their network, whether it's someone that has like a background in whatever they are trying to launch. People are using the advantages that they have, and instead of you sitting down sulking, complaining that you have no privilege, I am sure that if you check, there's some sort of advantage that you have that can give you an edge over someone else. If everyone else is using the advantage that they have, and you are choosing not to use your own advantage, you're already putting yourself on a back seat. You're limiting yourself already. So why not take advantage of the advantages or the resources that you have in the arrows in your quiver? Why not take advantage of that to give yourself a better chance at succeeding in this new venture that you want to launch? The next thing I would be doing if I was launching a brand in 2024 is collaborating. You have to collaborate. Oh my god, I feel like I talk about collaboration every single time, because it is one of the things that has helped my business grow. And even with the relaunch of News Africa last year, one of the things I'll attribute to the success is collaborating. We're able to collaborate with a content creator, and that also helped us to reach a larger audience. So when you think of collaboration, do not limit yourself. Open your mind up to possibilities. For instance, the content creator that we collaborated with is a content creator that's not a fashion content creator, but because she had an engaged audience and she already had style. So we already had something that we were working with, and we leveraged that to, get to a bigger audience. When you work with people, you can achieve so much more than you just like working by yourself, especially if you're a solopreneur and you don't have like a big team. Collaboration is a way to be able to reach a wider audience. It's a way to play into another person or another business's strengths for your own advantage. So I advise you to seek out collaboration, and always remember that if you are collaborating, you have to be bringing something to the table for the next person. There has to be an offer, an exchange in value. You can't just reach out to someone and say you want to collaborate and you're offering nothing in return. You have to think of, what does the person get in return for doing this? So the last and the final thing I'll be doing if I was starting a fashion brand in 2024 is building a community around my brand. So this might not be your first time hearing about building community. It's quite like any business, thought leader, marketing expert, everyone is talking about community building. The reason is because it is very, very valuable. Like, you can't put a number on building a community, right? It's what helps people connect with you as a brand. Because think about it, people buy from people as opposed to just businesses. This is why people are paying thousands of dollars to engage influencers, because they have their own community and they're trying to leverage into their community. This is why bigger businesses are acquiring smaller brands. It's because they're trying to leverage and take advantage of the communities that those smaller brands have built. And let me tell you, the best time to build community is at the very beginning. When people talk about building community, they approach it from the angle of sort of being an expert. They approach it from the angle of being an expert and just having this audience where you're talking about something, whether maybe you want to launch a sportswear brand or a workout brand. They're talking about you being a gym rat, for instance, sharing tips about working out and all of that. While that is great and that's a legit way to build community, you might not have the time, you might not have, because that takes time, and you might not even have the personality as a founder to sort of carry people along, like being an expert in working out and stuff. You don't have to be an expert in your niche to build community. You just have to be able to share your journey and be able to engage people on your journey. So this is how I approach it. You want to sort of carry people along. You want to share your processes. You want to share, like, stop being worried about having a finished product. Show them the perfect product. Let people give you feedback. The important part of building a community this way is that you find people that are very invested in seeing you win. So they're giving you advice, they're giving you tips, they're commenting on your posts, they're responding to your stories, and the only way you're able to do this is if you're transparent, and true, and two, you're authentic. Because let me tell you, people see through BS. If you just, in fact, there's a particular brand that newly launched, and I was like, why is this brand not being talked about? Like, why are people not relating to the brand? And it just occurred to me that this brand, even though the brand was created by an influencer that has a really like large audience and an engaged following, the brand itself is not something that she's really spoken about. So I feel that a lot of people are not being carried along that journey because it feels it doesn't feel as authentic. It just feels like another brand in the market, as opposed to other businesses that, like, let me give an example, like Tracy Ellis Ross with Pattern Beauty. Like, her brand was something that was more, would I say, organic, because she loves, like, her hair is beautiful. She talks about hair, she talks about products, these things. I'm not saying that you can't launch a successful brand without like building a community. It's possible. But when you have limited, it's possible to do that. But the thing is, when you have limited resources, you want to give yourself the best. You want to put yourself in the best position to succeed, and having a community, having people like just connect with you is a great way. A brand that is doing really well, a Nigerian brand that's doing this really well is Aya. So Aya is a sanitary pad brand, and the reason I even know about it, like they went viral, of course, but I just love their packaging, and I even like retweeted like one of their like one of their posts on social media because I was just like, oh, this is beautiful, and even their response to me was so warm, so friendly, and their brand just, I think it's brilliant because first of all, they're launching a an intimate brand. So this is something that women are very conscious about and it's not very talked about like openly. So I love that they took that warm, friendly, girl's girl approach, and you can sort of tell with how they communicate. You know, in this way, for instance, we don't know who the founder of Aya is, but there's a brand voice, and that brand voice is like an avatar. You can sort of picture someone like a girl's girl talking to you, and that is what they're using to communicate. So when you think about building community, you have to think about the brand voice. You have to think about how you want to be seen. So in this area, like how you show up online is so important. The type of content that you're creating, you have to make sure that you have the audience in mind. You know who you're talking to, so you know the tone of voice that you're relating to them with. Are you thinking of launching a brand in 2024? Let me know in the comment section what you're thinking of launch. And if there are any questions that you have concerning launching a fashion brand in 2024, let me know in the comment section. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.